strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, so true, but not hurtful. That's the great part about it. Anyways, how are you? I hope you are having a fantastic Tuesday, or at least a fantastic last 23, because that's going to be important. Anyways, it is Tuesday, August the 23rd of 2022, day 235 of the year, and only 130 to go. That's 130 days to go. If you're looking at what the hell is going on inside of the world of the multi, that's what's going on. So anyways, how have you been? What's been going on? Have you been having fun? Have you been flipping upside down? Have you been doing all kinds of things that you would like to talk about and brag about, and do all that kind of stuff? Anyways, I love the amount of messages that I got yesterday about catalysts for safety, or safety catalyst, however you want to take a look at it, and what people had to say. It's interesting. I always think it's interesting because I look at it this way. If you take the good, you have to take it with the bad, and you have to take it with the ugly. So there you go. So that's what we get to do. Anyways, we are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And then, of course, we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we do stuff at. Radio. Yeah, hanging out with our friends at RadioBig.fm, doing the things that they do over there. So we get to do the same thing over here in some way, shape, or form. So I guess that's one way to take a look-see at it if you're so inclined to do so. Anyways, with that being said, let's start talking right away about the things that are going on inside of the world, because you want to hear about those, I think. You want to hear about the things that are going on inside of here. Sometimes, some way, some shape, and some form, we talk about all kinds of fun stuff. You know what I love? When I start flipping through my gadgets over here, and I go, where did I move that button to? Because I think that's always important.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so talking about right away what was trending yesterday. Dr. Fauci landed in Twitter's top 10 trends on Monday after the top doc announced that his plans to retire. We can talk a little bit more about that here in a bit. Twitter users sent Nicki Minaj messages of congratulations yesterday. Do you know why? Well, maybe we can talk a little bit about that too. And then Dorm Room Songs was trending on Monday. Tweets included Stand By Your Fan, Purple Hazing, It's Raining Ramen, and Uptown Bunk. Yeah, that's all stuff that was going on yesterday as we are talking. By the way, still getting messages in right away, it seems like. I guess I should have talked about that. If you want to interact with the show, it's an easy way to do that. Callinradio.com. But I am getting some messaging in that it looks like we're still down in a couple spots. So sorry about that. Not sure what's going on. Like I always say, the best way to hang out and take a look at what we got going on is safetyfm.com and go to visual radio. Yeah, that's visual radio. That will make sure that you are there hanging out doing the things that we are doing. Anyways, with that being said, I think it might be time to start talking about what is inside of the news. So if you're not familiar on how we do it, we bring in some professional broadcasters. They talk about what's going on. We do safety in the news and safety, and then make it a hornswoggle of things of what is going on. So there you go. So let's do that right now. Let's talk about what is trending with the news right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. The White House is reportedly weighing canceling $10,000 worth of student loan debt for Americans who earn less than $125,000 annually. That's according to CNN. It adds the Biden administration could unveil a sweeping student loan forgiveness program as soon as Wednesday. All eyes are on Florida and New York watching today's primary elections. Mark Mayfield reports.
The governor's race in Florida has Democratic Congressman Charlie Crist and State Agriculture Commissioner Nikki Fried as potential opponents for Republican Governor Ron DeSantis. In New York City, Democratic Representatives Jerry Nadler and Carolyn Maloney are battling it out in the House primary. Nadler leads the House Judiciary Committee, while Maloney is the head of the Oversight Committee. I'm Mark Mayfield.
The man charged with killing 2 Muslim men in Albuquerque, New Mexico, is now charged with killing a third. Mohammed Syed is facing murder charges in the shooting deaths of 3 of 4 men killed since November, including 3 since late July. On Monday, prosecutors charged the 51-year-old Syed with killing 25-year-old Naeem Hussain just hours after he attended funeral services for 2 murdered Muslim men. It was a long night for many flyers hoping to get a jet out of LaGuardia after flights were delayed or canceled due to bad weather and staffing shortages. Some ended up sleeping on chairs on the floor at the airport, hoping to catch flights early today. The airlines will have to play catch-up this morning to get people to where they're going. So far today, flights are coming and going in and out of LaGuardia on time. The Defense Department said again on Monday it won't help Washington, D.C. deal with thousands of migrants arriving on buses from Texas and Arizona. It's the second time the Pentagon has turned down D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser's request to deploy the Guard. Gas prices continue to drop. AAA reports this morning the average price for a gallon of regular is now $3.89. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Chris Jones. Donald Trump has filed a motion in a Florida court to temporarily block the Justice Department from reviewing the materials taken during the search of his Mar-a-Lago home. A senior EU official has suggested the bloc should consider training Ukrainian soldiers to fight Russia. Bushfires are sweeping through parts of China's southwest, brought about by a record-breaking heatwave, and thousands are being evacuated from flood-hit areas in India and Pakistan.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
The White House is reportedly weighing canceling $10,000 worth of student loan debt for Americans who earn less than $125,000 annually. That's according to CNN. It adds the Biden administration could unveil a sweeping student loan forgiveness program as soon as Wednesday. This comes ahead of an expected decision on whether to extend the current pause on federal student loan repayments. The moratorium expires August 31st. The State Department is weighing in on reports that former NBA player Dennis Rodman is heading to Russia to help negotiate the release of Phoenix Mercury star Brittany Griner.
We have seen through the media, and really only through the media, that Dennis Rodman has said he does intend to travel to Russia. I want to be clear, he would not be traveling on behalf of the U.S. government.
State Department spokesman Ned Price says the administration has already put forward a substantial proposal to Russia to gain the freedom of Griner and former U.S. Marine Paul Whelan. He says any outside attempts to secure their release could hinder what they've been working towards. Last-minute preparations are underway as NASA prepares to launch its Artemis 1 mission next week.
We are go for launch, which is absolutely outstanding. This day has been a long time coming.
That's NASA Associate Administrator Bob Cabana. The mission marks the beginning of a program aimed at getting humans back to the moon after 50 years. Officials say they're hoping to have their first woman and person of color on the lunar surface by 2025. Civil rights leaders in Maryland are launching what's being described as a first-of-its-kind alert system for racial incidents. Rick Hoschel with details.
The Emmett Till Alert will notify clergy members, black leaders, and elected officials when there's a racial incident or hate crime in Maryland. The alert is named after Emmett Till, a black Mississippi teenager whose lynching in 1955 led to the civil rights movement.
Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Attention business owners. Are you receiving all the employee tax credits you have coming to you? A tax refund program provided for by the CARES Act of 2020 could be worth thousands. Employee retention tax credits, or ERTCs, are a fully refundable payroll tax. You may be eligible for up to $26,000 per employee per quarter. At Lifetime Advisors, we have a team of experts dedicated to the ERTC program. We work with businesses of all sizes, both big and small, to claim the money that they're entitled to. It's your money, and we can help you get it. Call Lifetime Advisors today at 1-877-851-0005. We'll send you a short questionnaire to see if you qualify. There is no obligation, but this is a limited time program. Don't miss out. Call 1-877-851-0005. That's 1-877-851-0005 to get the ERTC money you have coming to you. Lifetime Advisors.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen.
Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 15 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Tuesday. It's so lovely that we should call it double. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get into this. Let's get into what is going on inside of the hit list, shit list, or whatever list you want to call it. Have you ever sat back and wondered what does a black hole sound like? Well, some elementary school science education should teach you that space is silence, since empty vacuum means that there is no air, for sound to travel, but NASA has captured a sound emitting from the distant galaxy that was full enough of gases to allow to travel. So the misconception here is that there is no sound in space. It originates because most of space is a vacuum. So proving or providing no way for sound waves to travel, a galaxy cluster has so much gas that we've picked up an actual sound. We've amplified it with the mixer with our other data to hear a black hole. This is the NASA Explorernauts. So take a listen to this real quick. It gets a little interesting, so don't worry. Nothing has went round with your sound system. Nothing has went round with your headphones. This is what it sounds like. So I don't know about you, but it sounds very binary. Hold on, we're apparently we're getting a repeat. It sounds very binary tones like. If you do want to give it some thought there for sure. So pretty interesting stuff as we are taking a listen to what is going on inside of that particular world. So there you go. Now you have the sound of a black hole. And if you listen to the podcast version of this and not the radio version, well, you can go back and take a sweep of it one more time if you so desire to do so. Anyways, the internet age has come under Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa. The Tanzania Telecommunication Corporation has installed infrastructure for broadband wireless internet all around the 12,000 feet. It is intended to help adventurers access data from their smartphone during the climb, but they'll still be on their own for the portion of the hike of the summit, which is around 19,000 feet. So there you go. So just what you've been looking for. You finally made it to the summit. And voila. Somebody's phone rings, even though you thought there was no cell phone service. So there you go. Anyways, remember all the talk about investing in green technologies will create all kinds of jobs? Well, not at Ford. So there you go. At least the automaker announced on Monday that 3,000 white-collar jobs will be laid off in the coming days as it adapts to building and marketing electric vehicles. Ford hopes that half of its sales will be composed of all electric vehicles by the end of the decade. Related news and National Associated Business Economics poll says that 72% of experts expect a recession by the middle of next year. But that's a moot point at this point because the United States has experienced 2 consecutive quarters of economic contractions, which has been, a definition of a recession for decades. Meanwhile, speaking of electric vehicle, France now has a national program that pays 4,000 euros to citizens who trade in their gas-powered cars for an electric-powered assisted bike. It's modeled after a similar program that's in Lithuania that pays about 1,000 euros. So there you go. Some stuff to think about. So if you are going over there and deciding to take the move UVA, I guess that would be something to give some consideration to, just for the sake of doing so.
Always replicated, but never duplicated. Rated R Safety Show.
Anyways, competitive soccer is returning to the Ukraine. All leagues suspended play after Russia invaded in February. Today, a new league season kicks off in Kyiv with a face-off between, the 2 teams there, but no fans will be permitted to attend. The 65,000 Ukrainians in the sports stadiums would be prime target for Russian troops, so I guess it makes sense on why you would not want to do that. Anyways, in other news, a bull in Israel escaped its pen on Monday and charged through the streets of Lod outside of Tel Aviv. It eventually made its way to a building, an office building, where it roamed through the hallways before being chased outside, where a team was standing by to tranquilize it. So I guess that's the way to go about it. Its owner was identified and got it home, and apparently just owning a bull in a pen by the side of the road is a very normal thing there. So there you go. Some things to think about as we are talking here. So I don't know. I mean, that one's a little iffy if you really start thinking about it. Anyways, it is 21 minutes past the top of the hour, so let's go ahead and do this real quick and bring some Johnny Smalls in for you can tell us about the Market Beat.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022. Equity markets fell hard Monday to not only confirm resistance at the S&P 500 level of 4,300, but to break through potential support at the 4,150 level as well. The move also confirms a much larger head and shoulders pattern that has been in play all year. This pattern not only has a long-term but deep implications that could lead the S&P 500 down to the 2,700 level and keep it trending at low levels for an extended period of time. The major culprit for the move is slowing economic activity and the possibility of a deepening recession. This week, the biggest risk for the market will come on Friday with the release of the PCE price index. The index is expected to show a slowdown of the monthly advance of consumer-level inflation, but for core consumer inflation to remain at record levels on a year-over-year basis. A better-than-expected figure could send the market higher, but a worse-than-expected number will most definitely send it lower on an increased expectation for another aggressive FOMC interest rate increase. You can get the inside track at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, John Smalls, for that one, letting us know exactly what is going on inside of the world of the market. Let me give you a little bit more of a breakdown here, if I may do so. So take a listen to this. The Dow lost about 643 points on Monday to close at 33,063. The S&P lost about 90 points to close at 4,137. The NASDAQ lost about 323 points to close at 12,381. West Texas Intermediate traded about $90.67. Brent crude was up at $96. The national average of price a gallon of gas was at $3.90. Worth noting, gas prices have been artificially depressed as a result of President Biden depleting the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to the lowest level since January of 1985. Bitcoin's lost about $355, trading around $21,150, and there was 5,295 flight delays within, into, or out of the United States. And are you ready for this? 889 cancellations on a Tuesday. So there you go. Let's talk about this real quick. Let's talk about the top 5 songs according to the charts of iTunes and Spotify. We'll start off with iTunes. At number 5 was Don McLennan with American Pie. He had the full-length version. Yes. Oh, my, Miss American Pie. Yeah, that one. At number 4 was Bailey Zimmerman with Where It Ends. At number 3 was Evidence's Bring Me Back to Life. At number 2 was Blackpink, Pink Venom. And at the number 1 spot was BTS with Dynamite. So going to the other side, but I guess before I go to the other side, it seems like some older tracks made it onto there. So taking it to the other side, to the Spotify side of the house, Blackpink with Pink Venom at number 5. At number 4 was One Republic with I Ain't Worried. At number 3 was Lizzo with About Damn Time. At number 2 was Steve Lacy with Bad Habit. And at the number 1 spot was Harry Styles with As It Was. Now, listen, I will tell you that traditionally we would play these songs, but you already know the lingo of the bingo before I even get into it. So why even put you through the torture of when you already know what I'm going to say? So maybe that would be out of the sequence of events for me just to tell you what I was going to say when you already know what I was going to say, because I say it every time. Can't play the music because of some of the streamers that we're on social media, because they go boom, boom, and, kind of lock us out of the whole thing for talking about it. So that's why most of the times we do not play the music on there, just in case if you're ever wondering or didn't remember on why we don't do it. So there you go. So let's talk real quick about some other things that are going on inside of here, taking a look around at some of the news stories, because maybe that is something to talk about. So marijuana hallucinogens use reached an all-time high among young adults in 2021. A new study of the National Institute of Health says that marijuana and hallucinogens hit an all-time high in 2021. Mac Mayfield has more info.
The study found the rate of marijuana use among people between the ages of 18 and 30 had reached 43%, the highest since it was first monitored in 1988. Almost 10% of adults in the same age range also reported using hallucinogens, the highest rate ever recorded. I'm Mark Mayfield.
So let me ask a question here. So you took a poll, you took a survey of people answering that question of, hey, did you take some drugs? I mean, I don't know how realistic that's going to be in regards to getting some of those answered. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. Anyways, an iconic Texas high school football coach who was featured in the movie Friday Night Lights has died. Take a listen to Michael Kastner.
Gentlemen, the hopes and dreams of an entire town are riding on your shoulders. You may never matter more than you do right now. It's time.
In the movie Friday Night Lights, Billy Bob Thornton played Coach Gary Gaines. He coached throughout Texas over 3 decades, most notably at Odessa Perryman from 1986 to 1989. Gaines also coached at the college level as an assistant coach at Texas Tech and head coach at Abilene Christian. Gaines' family confirmed that he died on Monday after a long battle with Alzheimer's disease. He was 73. I'm Michael Kastner.
Okay, thank you, Michael Kastner, for that information right there. Take a listen to this. Investigators are ruling out arson in a fire that destroyed a historic Roseway Theater in Northeast Portland earlier this month. Michael Kastner has more information.
K2 News reports investigators have determined the fire on August 6 was caused by an electrical issue. Officials say further investigation may be necessary to determine exactly what went wrong. Over 80 firefighters responded to the scene of the fire to find the theater's floor had collapsed in the flames. It took several hours to put out the fire. I'm Michael Kastner.
Okay, thank you, Michael, for that one. Take a listen to this real quick. Also, a man accused of robbing a casino. Listen to this. New details are coming out in light of a man who was shot by the tribal police in Oregon after allegedly robbing the Wild Horse Resort Casino in Pendleton last week. Michael Kastner has more info.
K2 News reports court documents show Javier Francisco Virgil allegedly pointed a gun at a cashier and threatened to bathe everyone in blood if they didn't give him $1 million. Police say he left after receiving $70,000 and exited the casino to find police waiting for him. Police say he fired a shot at the officers, prompting them to shoot back and injuring him. A bystander was also injured in the gunfire. A judge ordered Virgil to remain behind bars pending further court proceedings. I'm Michael Kastner.
I'm gonna bathe everyone in blood. Like that's the outlook that you took on this thing. That's something special if you really start thinking about it. Anyways, let's talk about some other information real quick. Fewer Americans are switching to new jobs. A new survey shows that fewer Americans are switching jobs. Here's some more info.
The rate of transitioning to a different employer declined to 4.1% in July, compared with 5.9% in the same month a year ago, according to the New York Federal Reserve's Consumer Expectations Labor Market Survey. The decline was noticeable for women and respondents with a household income of less than $60,000. However, workers are growing less satisfied with their pay, with wage compensation satisfaction retreating from 58.2% to 69.9% in July. I'm Michael Kastner.
Anyways, do you know a lot of people that say that they're happy with their compensation of pay? I mean, I don't know, unless they own their own business and he's really knocking it out of the park. I've never really heard a lot of people say that they're happy with the amount of money that they make, because it's always that whole conversation of, well, I probably should be making more. Anyways, take a listen to this. Elon Musk says that the Neuralink neurotechnology company is ready to show the world more of its work with brain implants. Listen to what Mark Mayfield has to say.
On Monday, Musk tweeted that Neuralink will put on a show-and-tell progress event on October 31st. Musk didn't provide any hints about what to expect, but Neuralink's last big demonstration involved a monkey playing Pong through a brain-computer interface. Tech industry analysts expect something similar at the Halloween event. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Hold on, you're doing this on Halloween? That's going to be a day to remember. So here's my question to you. If you had the opportunity of putting a brain implant inside of your head, and all of a sudden you could access the internet at any point, at any time, would that be something that you would want to do? And how risky does this become? Because, man, you could be dangerously smart by doing so. And then let's ask the important question also. Can we get a price here? Because I'm kind of curious. What are we looking at price lines in regards of this? Because I don't know, and I just have a funny feeling that the cost is going to be for Do we want to call them the elite? Maybe that's the way to take a look-see at this, because you never know about what is going on. Anyways, let's talk real quick about some news coming out of Orlando. Candidates in a dozen of races around Florida are getting in on the final campaign ahead of, it says tomorrow's Florida primary, but it's actually today. University of Central Florida political science Aubrey Jewett handicaps the top statewide race on the ballot for the Democrat nomination for governor between Nikki Fried and Charlie Crist.
Well, I think for quite some time, the conventional wisdom has been that Crist has had a lead in the polls because he had much better name recognition, having been governor before and that sort of thing.
But Jewett says that recent polls shows had Fried ahead and shouldn't be surprised either way. Jewett said that, remember, Florida has a history of close election. The winner will take on Governor DeSantis in November. University of Central Florida political scientist Aubrey Jewett says the conventional wisdom has given the edge to Crist, because he was a former governor.
But we did have a recent poll that actually showed Fried up, so I wouldn't be surprised either way, quite frankly, right? We have a history of close elections in Florida, so we'll just have to see on that one.
So continue to listen to what Jewett has to say. Argued that the real Democrat in the race, not former Republican Crist, but actually Fried.
That she has been more reliably Democratic and progressive on a host of issues, whereas Crist used to be Republican and actually used to claim to be quite conservative on a number of issues. And so we'll just have to see how Democratic voters think about the electability issue.
So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there. Always makes it an interesting time when you start getting close to the world of politics if you want to play the game.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Well, I guess it'd be good if I actually take a look at what I'm clicking on, opposed to just clicking on anything that's in front of me. Anyway, so it is 32 minutes past the top of the hour, and it is time to talk about some things that we need to probably construe, that we need to discuss, that we need to talk about our local safety realms of things that we want to do around there. So let's do this real quick. Let's talk about this. And this could cause a level of confusion today, so I want to apologize ahead of time. But do you ever look and say that things are working out the way that you want them to inside of the world of safety that you're involved in? Or matter of fact, we can even expand it and say, are things working out the way that you want in your line of work? Are things going the way that you think and you make the assumption of stuff in life? And it's interesting because if you sit back for just one hybrid moment and take a look at this, and I want you to think about this. Think about the world that you have created in your mind. Now, listen, the great part about the world that you've created in your mind is pretty extravagant because nobody else gets to interact with it. Your thoughts, the way that you perceive stuff, that's all on you. And the great thing is that there's no way to pipe anybody into what's going on in your head. Think about it for a moment. So you might have a plan or an idea for something that you want to do inside of the world of the work that you do. And you think about it and you develop a plan and you develop a structure and you develop all these things to get it to work. You got that so far? Are we good there? Now, let's take a look at the other side of the equation here before we get back to that and take a look around of the world that you're in. We get to interact with other people. We get to do stuff. And sometimes we do things inside of this world that we have planned in our head. Sometimes it's not really stuff that's planned. It's the stuff we're doing. So the world that you perceive in your mind, is it identical to the world that you live in? Let's try that one more time. The world that you perceive in your mind, is it identical to the world that you live in? And if the answer is yes, that's great. And if the answer is no, why not? Because here's the thing. Even though we talk about some weird stuff on this show, sometimes we take some really weird dives. But it's almost at the same time that we're living in two different, I can't say mindsets, but you can almost say in two different worlds, because think about the world that you have created in your mind. And yes, I know that the one that you see in front of you has assisted a lot of it on the way that your thoughts go, on the things that you think about, on the things that you work on. But how can you get that perfect world that you have set up in your mind to be portion of the world that you work in? It's almost, if I would almost go and be a risk taker and say this, it's almost like if you're living in two different realities, and I know that can get into a whole other conversation if you want to do that. But you almost kind of look at it and go, wow, am I living in a science fiction novel? But we don't have to go that far. But if you look at it, how many times do some of the ideas that you're working on, are you able to put them inside of the workspace? And how much work do you put into these ideas? Because think about it. There are these people that are out there that do research, and there are these people that are out there that do work, that think about all kinds of things that they want to do. And it takes them a very long period of time before they're able to release it because of all the research and all the work that they've put into it. So imagine if you took some more time in developing your thoughts on how you want that world to change that you currently interact in, on how you want that world to change of the things that you do currently at your work. And we don't even have to limit it so much at your work. We could limit it to the world that you currently live in. I mean, think about it in that fashion. But I know that wording could throw some people off by me saying the world that you currently live in, like there's another option to live in. But your mind plays a big factor on how things work out for you. If you've ever been to a sports psychologist, it's interesting on how they tell the people that are the sports person on how they need to imagine the feeling of winning. They also need to talk to them about the feeling on how they will handle losing. Why is it that the mind plays such a big factor to some of the things related to psychology? Why is it that it plays such a huge factor to the amount of success that you can have in certain things? It's just an interesting standpoint when you take a look at the bigger scope of the picture on how this whole thing works out. Think about it for a brief moment. Think about a time that you had an argument with someone, and how if you thought about that argument more and more, it could have made the argument worse in your head, or what you would have told somebody. Or imagine this. Imagine a trip that you have planned and how happy that trip makes you as you think about it, even though it hasn't occurred yet. It's interesting on how your mind can trigger certain events. Think about that if you start developing a newer plan for your organization or for even something you want to do differently in your life. How will those two worlds collide? Interesting aspect if you really start giving it some serious consideration. Think about it.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
The Work Wise Summit is an interactive 2-day gathering that will bring like-hearted leaders together like never before as we discuss ways to better align HR, safety, and operations around one common goal: creating the future of work together. Day 1 will focus on self-performance with talks with leading experts on how to live and lead at our best. Day 2 will focus on organizational performance with discussions on what we can do together to break down silos and foster action. The Work Summit will take place at Coker Tire Museum in Chattanooga, Tennessee on Thursday, September the 22nd and Friday, September the 23rd. For more information, go to workzbe.com/Y Summits. That's WORKZBE.com Y Summit.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with Home Title Lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
I'm not the kind of person who is sentimental, but this thing is making me soft, living into my damn heart. It feels like I am losing my grip, going crazy, 'cause this doesn't make any sense. You're broken down all my defenses. No way back to the old me when I'm stuck here on planet X.
Okay, there you go. Here's some Vicky Fox and Tape Machines. This one's called Out into Space. Thank you to Vixie Fox and Tape Machines who are allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Always some good stuff coming in and around and about when people are helping out with the music side. So there you go. You know, some of that techno stuff just gets me. Anyways, let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit more about some things that are going on inside of this world, because it's always important to do so. Anyways, let me tell you real quick about my friends at 9888 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. If you're not familiar with them, they are the national network for local crisis centers that provides free and confidential emotional support to people in suicidal crisis and emotional distress 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in the United States. They are committed to improving crisis services and advancing suicide prevention by empowering individuals and advancing professional best practices and building awareness. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to 988lifeline.org. That's 988lifeline.org. The other side of the equation here is that if you want to do the phone stuff, it's kind of easy to do. All you have to do is text the word TALK to 988, or you can do this other thing where you just dial 988 on your phone, and that will get you rolling and bowling. You also have, like I said earlier, the chat box available at 988lifeline.org. So there you go. A lot of different things. And listen, there is no reason to hold back. They cover all kinds of great information, anything from Black mental health, maternal mental health, youth mental health, Native American and Alaskan natives, veteran mental health, law survivors, attempt survivors mental health, deaf and hard of hearing loss. I mean, anything that you can imagine, they will cover the information there if you're so just looking for. All you have to do is go to 988lifeline.org. So let's get into some more news and talking about some things that are going on. We did talk about this briefly yesterday, but if you are a listener on the Radio Big side of the house, they are now available on iHeartRadio.
Prepare yourself. We are now being distributed on iHeartRadio. Listen on iHeartRadio app. Radio Big.
Okay, let's go. So all you have to do is go to the iHeartRadio app and type in Radio Big, and it will come up right there under the live streaming section, and that will get you rolling and bowling and doing all the fun stuff that is going on over there. Anyways, let's get into some more news and some things to do real quick. I guess today is a great day to be to give you a reminder to be kinder. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm telling you right now. A new study says that performing random acts of kindness has a bigger impact on the recipient than people realize. Take a listen to this. Researchers from the University of Texas, Austin found that not only does the recipient of the good deed generally feel more positive about their interaction, but they also pay it forward, spreading the kindness and generosity to others. Those who do good deeds typically focus on objects or service they're providing, such as giving a gift or helping someone across the street. What the study determined is the recipients of the good deed focus more on feeling the warmth of the act that the act evokes. So simply put, recipients of the act of kindness care more about their thought that someone put the gesture into the movement rather than the gift itself. The researchers summed up that they studied the study by saying performers of the acts of kindness don't realize how much of the impact that people are having on them, and that can stand on the way of their behavior. However, it should be pointed out that researchers still advise against killing people with kindness. That's not a good thing to do. And what's the most surprising random act of kindness you've ever experienced? That might be something that you can think about today if you're so inclined to do so. Anyways, with it being said, let's do this real quick. Let's bring in some John Smalls and let him tell us about the Motivation Minute. Seriously.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Jason. Michael Jordan said, "The key to success is failure." Now, I know there are many people who already know this, but I was amazed to find out that Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Imagine that. But think about this. Maybe that is what it took for him to buckle down and focus on being the best he could be. I wonder how much it would have changed his life in the long run.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlassaMorgan.com. There has been a debate whether or not dietary cholesterol relates to serum cholesterol, LDL or HDL, and if eating saturated fats increases bad cholesterol. An important thing to understand is that anything that interferes with our ability to produce cholesterol is detrimental to our health, for the simple reason that cholesterol builds the membrane for every cell in our body and gives it its fluidity so that it can be accessed by nutrients. Cholesterol is also the backbone to the hormones like estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. As recognized by the American Heart Association, dietary cholesterol does not impact the serum cholesterol. However, the observation that consuming saturated fats raises cholesterol is generally correct, and it is important to consult with your physician regarding dietary changes. For more, check out alessamorgan.com.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
It's this show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, sounds like it's stupid funny around here, so let's do it that way. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world. It is 51 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out and talking a little bit about some stuff that is going on. Anyways, let's talk about some tech talk real quick because I think that this is going to be important. Weeks after Airbnb said that it's permanently banned parties at properties rented through its platform, the company is deploying so-called anti-party technology in the U.S. and Canada to enforce the measure. The new system analyzes a variety of factors, including previous reviews, how long the user has been on the platform, and the length of the stay, whether it's a rental is occurring on a weekend or a weekday. The goal, according to Airbnb, is to help identify potentially high-risk reservations and prevent those users from completing a booking. Those who are unable to book homes because of the anti-partying tech will have the option to reserve a hotel room or a private room where the owner is likely to be present. Though through the platform, I already have an anti-party technology, my over-the-limit credit card, so maybe that's really some way to think about it. Anyway, some other stuff talking about real quick. An AI chat box, or an AI-driven chat box is better saying, is allowed a woman to answer questions from beyond the grave at her own funeral. The technology was provided by her son, who runs a company that creates holographic conversational video experiences and allows British Holocaust campaigner Marina Smith to be present in a sense, according to her son, Stephen Smith. The experience was used a story file, an AI conversation for both uses 20 cameras and recordings of the subject to create a digital holograph clone that can be interacted with. The answer given to questions were entirely by Miss Smith's own words. To do this, the subject was interviewed while alive and asked a large array of questions about her life. The data is then fed to a story file, which selects appropriate recordings to play to answer questions asked at a funeral. Reporting mourners were able to dive into her fascinating life in a morbid but futuristic tribute, and the blooper reel was hilarious as well. No, just kidding, it's the last part. But think about that you are able to go to a funeral now and do this. And talk about some of this stuff. That'd be interesting. Now, I will tell you, if you are familiar with a writer by the name of Philip K. Dick, somebody took a lot of his information regards of his books and conversations that were done a few years back. It essentially made an android of this dude. Not a holograph, but a android, not a hologram, better saying, of this dude, and you were able to go to this one place. I want to say was it in Texas? I want to say it was in Texas, and be able to interact with him and ask him questions about the stuff that he had done. You can find some of the videos online. You just look up Philip K. Dick Android, interactive Android is probably better doing, because if you look up do androids dream of electric sheep, you're going to end up pulling up Blade Runner. Just a little FYI stuff. Just to talk about that real quick. Anyways, let's talk about some other stuff going on inside of the world of the news, if you care to do so. Take a listen to this real quick. West Hollywood to hand out drink testing kits that detect date rape drugs. Yeah, you heard me correctly. West Hollywood will be handing out drink testing kits to detect the presence of the date rape drug. This man says that he was drugged and sexually assaulted in West Hollywood 8 months ago and wishes that he had the kit.
I think it would have made a huge difference in my case. I think if I would have known I had that resource just in my jacket pocket and I was feeling a little weird, I would have been able to at least test my drink.
On Monday, the West Hollywood City Council approved the plan to buy and distribute the kit in an effort to reduce sexual assaults. The drink testing kits will be given to bars and nightclubs across the city. With one drop of liquid, they can detect two common date rape drugs, ketamine and GHB. Yeah, GHB and ketamine. You know, I was thinking about that. Ketamine, isn't that the stuff that came off the Dexter TV show that they talked about for a period of time?
Here is another bit for our competitors to copy. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, let's continue talking. No winner for Friday night's Mega Million drawing. Tonight's drawing will be for a $116 million jackpot or a $65.6 million cash payout if you're so inclined to play that game. So there you go. Anyways, in some other news, let's start talking real quick about some things that happened back on this date. So let's take a look around. Back in 2007, just to give you some dates here, the new trend first started to use in a tweet by the U.S. product designer Chris Mencina. He tweeted, "How do you feel about using pound for groups as hashtag bar camp message?" So keep in mind that before it was known as a hashtag, it was known as the pound symbol. So just so you know. Anyways, let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Let's see. Let's jump around and take a little look at some of them. Let's see. Jeremy Lin turns 34. Marty York, 42. Scott Can, 46. Tina Ramsey turns 48. That's the wife of Gordon Ramsay, just in case. Rick Springfield turns 73. And Barbara Eden turns 91 today. Yeah, that's I Dream of Jeannie, just in case if you were wondering. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, I have some of those for you as well. It's National Sponge Cake Day, National Boys Hug Girls Day, hey now, National Ride the Wind Day. How do you ride the wind? National Cuban Sandwich Day. So I guess some things that you can do if you really want to go out and be celebratory today, just so you know. Anyways, let's take a look real quick at some other info. If you're looking at some whack facts, there are 12 times more trees on Earth than there are stars in the Milky Way. Rainbows are actually circular, and we don't typically see the full circle of rainbow on the Earth's horizon blocks the lower parts. Winds don't make sound until they blow against an object. Let's see. Gold never erodes. Fruit stickies are edible, though it's like fruit. Washing prior to eating it is recommended. And if you point your car fob to your head, it increases the signal. So go ahead and give that a try and let me know how it works out for you. Anyways, if you're looking for a random joke for today, try this. What idiot named them horses and not Zerocons? Let's see. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What toy or game were you really into when you were a kid? And if you need a question for the water cooler, try this. A survey found that 40% of couples say that they are more productive when they were working in environments that has this. What is it? Plants. Definitely not marijuana plants. Anyway, so that's it. That's what we have for you today. That's kind of going to sum everything up. If you want to come and hang out, I'll be going over to Radio Big for the next couple hours or so to do the things that we do over there. So there you go, radiobig.fm, or you can just go to the iHeartRadio app. Simplest way of doing so. Anyways, thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, we couldn't do what we do around here. Kind of a simple process on how that ends up working. Anyways, if I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. This is what it sounds like. Always be first-rate version of yourself, not a second-rate version of someone else. Why copy someone else when you can be you? Think about it in that fashion. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.